Hello everyone and welcome to the LSI F1 Championship. We're today for the Australian Grand Prix, a slipstream circuit, that's for sure. We're on board with your championship leader, currently P5, a 15.7. It's competitive out there. It's Briscoe Jr. on top of the times for now, and lots of cars on outlaps. It's Eager Pro, the next car to finish qualifying. As we've seen so many times before, Igor has finished qualifying pretty early compared to everybody else. It means that they can get their lap done nice and safely without any traffic, just pushing the limit on the exit there. A little bit of a straight just to gather your thoughts, and then hard right all over the curb, getting right up to track limits. DRS available, and trying your best to minimize that track distance until you get to the heavy chicane. Absolutely maximum power, slight lift, no brakes, and back on the throttle again. DRS available once more. Into the final sector they go, and we'll see what Eager Pro can do. Into the braking zone, staying away from that red curb, they choose to do so. And they're going to try and get as close as they can to the inside curb without touching it too much, as I don't believe it's really your friend in the F1 25 game. The final corner is upon them though, and it is their friend. The clock isn't. What's it going to be for Eager Pro? P7 for now, 9.87, and they don't manage to get... Oh, they do, sorry. P5 for Eager Pro, a 6.04, margins away from Jericho Willis. It's sulking to P2. That is a brilliant, brilliant lap. What will we see from Pursuit and Frantic? It's going to be Pursuit. No, it's going to be Frantic, sorry. P9, they're invalidated. That's it for their AI anyway. It's going to be Verf in P6. What can the championship leader do here in qualifying after winning Austria and a podium last time around? It's going to be a P3 start for now. Is that going to be final though? That's the question. The Mercedes of Edveer coming around the next few corners. That's the wrong car. That's P11, that's P1, that's Briscoe Jr., your current pole sitter. Edveer crosses the line to P8. It's going to be Briscoe done with qualifying. They will not be able to defend their position, but what will we see from the likes of Zingy? Zingy's invalidated. It's going to be Nipper, the next car. The next car into the pit lane they go. I do not believe it. Live C up to the line. What's it going to be for the Aston Martin? They improve just behind their teammate, but it's Pursuit who demotes them down immediately. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Jericho Willis stays P5, and qualifying has been bottled by a few. Sulkin crosses the line to finish their lap, and they do improve again actually. I did not expect that. They do improve a 15.279, and they're so close to pole position. Not quite enough, but that is brilliant. And it is for the second race in a row. For the second race in their LSI career, Briscoe Jr. on pole position. They will start the Australian Grand Prix with no one else ahead. The race that they eventually lost last time around in Singapore is one that they'll try and move on from and learn a lot from, and give it a second try here. Briscoe takes P1 for qualifying. It's Sulkin in P2 and Verf in P3. That is a brilliant qualifying order. Race director on your screen now, just in case, because we might need it. And then we'll be back for the race. We'll see in a bit. I cannot wait for this one. It's going to be awesome. Ready, hold, go! Who's going to get it into turn one? The Williams on pole position, the inside line for the Ferrari though. Are they going to get there on the brakes? It is going to be Sulkin into P1. Absolutely perfect. There's a car off in the background. I don't know who that is. Further down the order, it's Pursoon at the back of the field. But a brilliant start from Sulkin. It's the racing ball of Zingy trying to have a look around the outside. It's not going to be possible. Verf now has a look. It's side by side with the McLaren. It's Eager Pro ahead of Jericho Willis. It's Livesey trying to have a go as well, but it's not possible. It's Niffo down to P8 off the start. Someone else is going for an overtake. I'm not sure who that is. The two Alpines at the back of the pack. Something must have happened there. And here we go. Niffo trying to have a look left and right around the outside. It's not going to be possible, but they're going to try and get there before the braking zone or just force the Aston Martin into an offline. They are going to go to the outside line. Oh, that's never going to work, surely. Oh, they are backing off. They do back off. That's a 3-second time penalty for Brusco already, as they're getting pressured by the other racing bull. It's Zingy to the inside line. The 6-time champ versus the 2-time pole sitter. It's going to be Zingy every day of the week, and Brusco just not able to find the rhythm in the first few corners. Verf almost had a look, but touching the grass forces them wide, and they'll have to try and reconsider a move. What can they do though, as they're already looking at an overtake to try and follow the Scotsman ahead of the Williams? For now, they'll just have to wait behind, as DRS is almost enabled. 3-second time penalty already for one car. We've had a few scuffles, a few bits here and there. We've had Niffo go off to try and overtake one car, and they've actually overtaken Livesey. Livesey's had an issue and has dropped down the order for whatever reason. As we were watching these guys, I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but it is now Niffo, who did lose that position to Edveer, now trying to make some progress again, but they're actually losing almost another position, as Frantic is right there behind. And then we've got Livesey getting overtaken by Pursoon, who makes the move in a very interesting way very early on into that corner. But they've got the job done, and we'll see what they can do. It's gonna be Pursoon going for the move on Frantic, and a switch, a very, 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 very risky switch, as Livesey had a look, but it wasn't going to be possible. But will we see Frantic go for a move on their teammate? We will not, but we see P1 Sulkin absolutely flying. They were hyped up after last weekend, and they're definitely showing the performance and the practice, but it's the rear end that's stepping out on them a little bit. In the Ferrari, the racing ball has good momentum, and they have 2 DRS zones coming up to help them out. With the fastest lap of the Grand Prix already for the Scotsman in the opening laps, they have some strong pace. It's the hard tyre. That's what we saw from Brusco in the opening corners. Their tyres have seemed to warm up a little bit more, and they're finding their groove a little bit. That's another time penalty. That's Pursoon getting a 3-second as well. Hard tyres for Jericho Willis, and we also see them for Frantic and Livesey as well. So that explains some of their pace, as those guys have dropped off a little bit. That being said, Jericho Willis hasn't actually dropped that much compared to where they started. They've just stayed out of some trouble here and there. But that medium tyre is looking quick for now. Brusco is in a strong position at the end of the Grand Prix. Are they going to have the advantage though? If it was F124, I'd say yes. Now it's F125. I'm not entirely convinced. The Williams is quick though, regardless. Just do they have the battery that they fell up on in Singapore when competing for the victory against the McLaren of Heischler, who took their second ever career win at the same circuit 2 seasons apart. Absolutely incredible stories. It's Sulkin in P1 on lap 4. It's Zingy sitting behind and not doing anything to overtake or challenge Sulkin, because they don't need to. But will that change, and will a few cars behind get a little bit more agitated? Well, Eager Pro's breaking away from Jericho Willis. Jericho on this hard tyre. They've got Edveer for company. Edveer gets a 3-second, and they don't have Niffo, because Niffo's dropped back behind Pursoon. So there is a 1.2-second gap splitting a group of cars, and Jericho Willis is trying to not make it a second split, as they hope that these tyres switch up. They're using the corners to their advantage because the cars ahead bunch up, but on the straights it can be pretty difficult, because you get the softer compound getting a really good exit, a massive amount of grip, and then all of a sudden they run away on the straights with the DRS. Zingy once again not looking to go for the move on the Ferrari, just letting the race leader stay where they are, but that's a very different racing line that both guys have just taken. And they've actually ended up pretty even compared to each other. That's another 3 seconds, and that's for Nifayan right now. Unfortunately, more time penalties coming in early on in the Australian Grand Prix. It seems a little bit more troublesome than Austria did. That being said, Austria was a different level, so if we can reach that level, then I would be proud. Zingy. Oh, Edfear in the background, unfortunately spinning and goes down right to the back of the pack. That splits up the field even more, and now it's a 2.3 second gap that splits the field. That is going to be a big problem for everyone. Now a void has just been created in the entire pack. Such a shame to see Edfear out there because they were having a brilliant start to the race. They've never really been able to catch a break. They found it, but unfortunately now they've dropped it and it's gone. 2.3 seconds though, early on in the race. They're right behind and the strategy is going to be crucial, so they cannot give up just yet. Zingy's going to have to try and maybe have a look at going for a move here or there because Briscoe is only going to get quicker in this race. I'm sure they're going to want to try and test their pace. That being said, they know Sulkin is not an easy driver to overtake and stay ahead of because Sulkin can re-overtake you from miles back. They're very, very good at dive bombs. I know a few drivers would beg to differ and say that they were avoiding Sulkin, but they still get the job done. Maybe it'll go wrong one day, but so far it's gone pretty well. And the Norwegian finds himself leading the Grand Prix on legitimate pace. I think he's been edging closer and closer to the Ferrari, but not quite getting there. Not really feeling like they're in a position to comfortably make the move. And I think, to be honest, Sulkin's pace has just been good enough to really lead the pack, and he's controlling the pace very, very well. A very uniform train from P1 to P6, and then 2.8 seconds. The gap splits more, and Frantic, Pursoon, Nifo, Livesea all just basically hoping that something happens up front because right now nothing's happening. They're hoping that Sulkin gives Zingy a big old fight and it slows up the entire pack. But that will leave both drivers susceptible to Briscoe on that hard tyre, who is going to be absolutely brutal. The two Alpines switch positions to try and give each other a bit of a slipstream train, but this lead train is very, very quick. There's not really much you could do about that other than pray. Lap 6 out of 29, and that's going to be Eager Pro going down the order, making a mistake. Oh, and Frantic makes a mistake in the background as well. That was not the time to make a mistake when all of a sudden the cars ahead are possibly within reach. I think Eager Pro has just missed out on the rear wing being open. They did. That's tragic for Igor. They might be close enough, but look at the DRS. 2/10 in one straight has just been gained from that DRS, so Igor's got to dig deep and hope that their tyres can really kick back in. But Jericho Willis is only going to get quicker. It's not going to be an easy one. That being said, he's not too far away and he's just got a couple of corners to really push and give it absolutely everything. Can Eager Pro get the job done? And it's maybe looking a little bit more difficult than I thought. And there it is, DRS available once again for the cars in front, so it's going to be virtually impossible. That's more time penalties. 6 seconds for Briscoe, 9 seconds for Nefayan, 3 seconds for Pursoon, and 6 for Edfear. So it is absolutely chocker. It's also Zingy going for the move. It's Briscoe watching the cars go side by side into the far chicane, and it's going to be a double overtake here for the Williams. Surely they get boxed in, and they have no choice. But now they go to the left-hand side. Will they go the long way round on the Racing Bull? They will not, and they won't be able to get the switch back. But that was very lucky as Zingy goes defensive onto the inside line. They don't allow themselves to get overtaken in this final sector, but that was absolutely brutal. Well spotted from Briscoe, and Zingy's going to be frustrated with that one. They were hoping to make that move cleanly and not lose any time, but Sulkin has tried to hold on to the position. They went side by side into the corner, and that's how it goes. Now to P3 behind a 6-second time penalty runner, but Briscoe's going to have to try and get something done sooner rather than later, because that time penalty is not going to get any smaller. It might be that a few cars around them do have some sort of issue and get time penalties as well, but You can't bank on it, and you have to just try and make progress, and especially being on a tyre that's only going to be better and better and better as they continue. Now's the time to do it. Zingy, now in clean air, trying to show their pace and looking pretty strong, but we don't know how much they're pushing right now relative to where they were when they were sat behind Sulkin. Sulkin finding the dirty air, a little bit of a struggle as they get a shock to the system, and Verf is right there to pick up on any mistake that they make. Sulkin still holds on to the DRS, but that dirty air is really kicking in, as you can see their rear end going all over the place. Maybe a little bit to do with the contact as well, just making them lose their cool as the two cars ended up in a bit of a scuffle just a few moments ago, if you missed it. It's Jericho Willis right in the train, and everybody is now back in the train after all of that battle. As I said, might just happen. It's brought everyone back into it. Eagerpro's back into it. Frantic, Pursuit, Nifo, Livesey all back into it. Edveer's gone for a pit stop looking for the undercut. What can they do in this Grand Prix? How powerful will the undercut be? That's the question. The Scotsman leads the way. The Williams is hunting. And there we go, the blue car overtakes the white car, and there's nothing that Zingy can do about it, but it's also surely DRS from Sulkin, just about DRS for Sulkin, and they'll get a second dose of it where a car ahead of them won't have DRS at all, so that's brilliant there for them. That is a brilliant move there for Brusco, as they can get a free gap in the second DRS straight, and now with the better tyres, they could be sorted. I think that could be it. The race lead is Brusco's for the foreseeable future until we get to the pit stops. I don't think we're going to see Zingy get back ahead. That's it. DRS available for Zingy, but 7 tenths back, 8 tenths for Sulkin. It's just going to break up a little bit, and that medium tyre is just going to be on damage limitation. Briscoe, as long as they don't make a mistake, will hold this lead. Jericho Willis is going to be one to watch. We see Frantic in P6 as overtaken by Eagerpro, but not having DRS on Jericho Willis, as Jericho Willis is finding a moment where they're probably going to be looking to try and go faster than ever. That being said, Frantic is also in that same position with that hard tyre. Livesey will need to try and make some progress. They've got a lot of cars to overtake though if they do want to make such progress. Jericho Willis now 4 tenths back. They are looking at the back of Verf. They've got the battery, they've got the momentum, and I don't think Verf is going to push this too much. That being said, when they go into the clean air, Verf is still staying there. Do they back off? They do so, but very late on, as they have to actually take a bit of an alternative racing line. They've got the DRS and they're going to try and come back, surely. No, they back off at the last second, and Sulkin is going to be the next target for the orange car. But what will come out of it, we'll find out. We do know that Sulkin's dropping back because of the DRS train that's basically split up between the top two. Briscoe versus Zingy. Briscoe tried to repeat what Zingy did all those years ago, winning on debut. It wasn't quite possible, but they're giving it a second shot in the second race that they've ever done in LSI around Australia. Zingy took their victory in Japan. So, two very different countries. And not much useful information coming out from that, but we do want to see what Jericho Willis can do on this lap, because I think if they need to make an overtake, it's now. Zingy losing DRS. Sulkin getting a time penalty, and that's another mistake for the Ferrari. That's DRS, and it's going to be a clear overtake here for Jericho Willis. They switch to the outside last second. What is Sulkin doing? As they just move over a little bit, DRS was available, ERS was being blasted by the McLaren, and there's no way that the Ferrari is going to get back through. That was a little bit close for comfort. That's Pursuit getting a time penalty. Again, it's going to be just about DRS for Zingy. I don't know how they managed to get back into it, but they were almost out of range for a minute. Now 2 seconds. Jericho Willis needs to try and find a bit. That is Zingy finding it tough on this tyre. It might be time to make a pit stop sooner rather than later. Will we see any others in? We do. Sulkin dives in. Another early pit stop for the Hungarians. I was getting confused with Verf and Sulkin there. An early pit stop for Sulkin this time. It's going to be Eager Pro on the same boat. Got Nifo in P8. They've had an issue, 1.6 seconds away from the cars ahead. Not entirely sure what happened with them, but that medium tyre does look very difficult to deal with. We saw Zingy struggling. We saw Sulkin earlier struggling a lot as soon as they were in dirty air. So it just seems to be the nature of the situation that they're in. Edvir 1.9 seconds back. They're going to have made a bit of an undercut, so I think they might be able to get back in the train. They are going to be 4 laps down on their tyre wear though, so it's going to be a long old race for Edvir. They've still made the right call, I think, to try and give themselves the best chance in this race. Now, what can Sulkin do with this undercut? Will we see Zingy dive into the pit lane? We do. Very late on into the cut in there. Jericho Willis will now inherit P2. Frantic will inherit P3. Verf stays out, interestingly. We see Passoon and Nifo Yan into the pit lane. Where will Nifo end up being? They're going to get a bit of a delay from the double stacking. And that's as good as it's going to get for a double stack, really, I'd say. You're not going to get much better than that. Usually the limit or the perfect opportunity is 6 seconds apart. If you can get it to 6 seconds, then your double stacking situation is going to be pretty good. They've gone a little bit over that, and it wasn't that bad either. So they are in a good position. Jericho Willis, 2.6 seconds, bringing Frantic with them. And they've got Brusco just up ahead, but trying to catch the man that's had 2 pole positions in 4 races, and they've only competed in 2 of them. It's going to be quite difficult. Verf in P4 now on this 12 lap old medium tyre. It's only going to get more difficult. As you can see, they're trying to take it as long as they can, but it's not really working. Livesy catching up, might even look at getting DRS. I think they might have just missed out. Surely it's the pit stop here. Oh, just about for the Hungarian. It looked like it was going to be a left-hand turn as they tried to turn right. That's just the way the tyres were working for a second. It is Zingy leaving the final corner with DRS not available, but jumping ahead of Verf by a decent amount. And we'll see where Verf ends up and try and make a bit of a judgment call as whether to where everybody else will end up. There it is. You can see the Aston Martin looking for the move around the outside as Eager Pro swoops through on Verf. A brilliant opportunity spotted. Will we see it from the Alpine though? No, Passoon backs off, but they do actually send Verf into a little bit of an outbraking manoeuvre. Luckily nothing happened from it, but Passoon didn't want to go for that move. They've got 1 lap older tyres. That means 1 lap warmer tyres, but they didn't want to take the chance of causing a collision. So fair enough to them. Fair enough indeed. Brusco staying out right now on track. So Jericho Willis, it's another 3 seconds for Nifo Yan, unfortunately. The top 4, all cars that haven't pitted. Everybody right now on the hard tyres. 9.4 seconds. Zingy is making some progress. Look at the gap between the leader. 15.8 seconds at the moment. And I think that medium tyre start was the way to go. And we see Frantic and Jericho Willis follow each other, but Brusco breaks away. And they're doing what they can to redeem themselves from last time around with a vastly different strategy to their rival, which they tried before. Frantic gets ahead of Jericho Willis for a bit of a DRS train. Let's see what they can do. Livesy sat back from this battle on their own. On their own as well is both Zingy and Sulkin. just in the far distance. These guys fighting earlier on in the beginning of the race, now 2.4 seconds away, and although the 1 lap older tyre and the undercut, it didn't work out for Sulkin. And when consistency is key, 6 championships do come in handy to teach you all you need to know in how to go for long distances. Although that being said, they just got super close to track limits. You've got Experience versus Sulkin in their first F1 game, having an absolutely masterful beginning to their F1 game career. I think they should be very proud of what they're doing right now, running in P6 regardless of the time penalty situation, which we will check in. We are strong. It's Briscoe in P1 with a 6-second time penalty. That shows Zingy trying to look at their second win of the season after having a disconnected result in Singapore and a puncture in Austria, scoring them only 1 point in the last 2 races, compared to the P1 that they saw in the beginning of the season at Austria. Zandvoort, I should say. Ooh, big mistake there for everyone. The exit of the track limits, they might have been able to get away with it. There's Livesey making the pit stop from the alternate strategy. That's the first call. We'll see what everybody else can do. We can see where Livesey ends up coming out, and it's going to be a bit of a gap, I'll tell you. We might struggle. That's Eagerpro's teammate, but P9. Oh, it's Niffo just ahead of Livesey, and that's all a bit of switching up going on. Edvir right on the back of this battle. Will they try and look for the inside line? They will do so, but they do back out of it just at the last second. It's Niffo in P9, looking like they were having a bit of trouble with the Aston Martin, maybe trying to avoid them on the pit exit. I'm not entirely sure. We'll see how that goes. We've got a few more pit stops coming in from a few drivers. Will we see Briscoe come into the pit lane? Well, we'll double check the gap to the leader from Zingy, and that is a massive, massive gain that we've seen. So Briscoe surely has to make a pit stop at some point soon to give themselves a chance to catch back up, and they do dive in. Eagerpro and Pursoon go for a bit of a shindig, as they know it, into the DRS zone. And it's a switch up with the two. An F1 champion and an LSI F1.5 champion, both going at it right now. And that's going to be contact, and Eagerpro into the wall. Oh, that's not ideal. I don't think it was contact with Pursoon. I think it was just a bit of a mistake in the final corner, and that's damage for the Aston Martin. It's Frantic who leaves the pit lane on cold tyres and is going to get swarmed by Livesey. Surely that's going to be the move that Niffo did on him just a few moments ago. The inside line is theirs. It's going to be tight, very, very tight indeed. Frantic's going to get there. Frantic's going to have it. They're going to hang it around and then onto the inside. It's going to be Eagerpro DNFing. I do not believe it. And the safety car is out. It's been a rare sight to see this season so far. The safety car is out, and Eagerpro DNFs for the first time in I don't know how long. Turn 5 caused an end to their Grand Prix. And after we've just seen this man go from P1 into the pit lane for fresh tyres, they're now P6, and I don't know what this is going to look like for them, but we see someone who has benefited from this quite nicely as the Scotsman catches up. It's going to be Jericho Willis, P2. They will get passed by the Alpine of Pursoon, who stays out. We see Briscoe staying out. They don't need to, so they inherit that P2. They do actually get ahead in the end. But we're going to see Zingy onto the hard tyre again. Jericho Willis has to go onto the medium. And we'll see Sulkin onto the hard tyre. I think, in my opinion, the hard tyre is the way to go. I know there's just over 10 laps to go, but the consistency of the white wall tyre compared to that softer medium is just absolutely unreal. And if you can have it on your car, you probably want it. You're going to have a bit of a difficult time in the opening couple of laps, but now we're under the safety car conditions. You've got time to warm up your tyres, and you've also got time for that medium tyre to lose its peak performance. You're going to be in a good position, especially when it comes to the last couple of laps, when everybody gets a little bit distracted of what could be at stake. So that's something that we've got to look at. Pursoon leads the Australian Grand Prix, both with 6 seconds of time penalties. It's Niffo with 12, it's 6 for Edver, it's 3 for Sulkin. That's the situation as we know it. Everybody bunching up means the time penalties are even more brutal to deal with. But we get to see the on-track racing at its peak. On the safety car will be going in on the end of the next lap. This man very happy about the safety car today. Here we go. The restart is on its way. It's Pursoon, who, a familiar phrase, leads the Australian Grand Prix. But how long for with the might of Briscoe in outright pace? Will they go for it early? The safety car enters the pit lane now. They can go at any point when they want. And on the exit of the corner, they're still waiting, anticipating, forcing everybody to just freeze. And there it is, surely? And let's go for Pursoon. Oh, that's going to be absolutely brutal for everybody behind. I do not believe it. It's Zingy on the inside line, trying to get the move early on, and they do force their way through. Frantic's going to be on the attack as well to try and take a spot from the McLaren, but they can't get there. And just absolute chaos at the beginning of the restart. There is Livesey sending it on the inside of the front runner of Sulkin from earlier on, and that is a brilliant move. Looked like they had it on easy mode. Did Livesey. Perfect stuff indeed. As their teammates out of this Grand Prix, they try and capitalise on the situation. Oh, and it's Briscoe trying to choose which way to go. They chose the wrong way. They tried to react and they went very, very wide. Zingy is going to look to try and come through on the run. Is it going to be? No, it's not. They just have to hold off for now. But Briscoe leads the Grand Prix. It's Zingy finding momentum. Will they try and force Pursoon into a mistake? They are going to switch to the inside outside line, and they're going to brake as late as they possibly can, and they are going to get there. And Pursoon, with the outside line, is never going to have the advantage into the following corner. And with all the aggression in the world, they've tried to... Oh no, I do not believe it. What's happened here? Livesey's out. Livesey's out. Into turn 11, and they've hit the wall. They're out of the session, they're gone, and no safety car will be deployed because it's just come in. I don't believe it. Oh, it's a voluntary retirement from Livesey. I'm very confused as to what has just happened there. But Brusco leads the way, and we see Zingy holding on behind. They've got the hard tyre. It's Brusco with that medium tyre. Their time penalty situation is really not ideal, and they've just got to try and hope that they can break away for as much as they can in this Grand Prix, and hope that a few cars behind have some issues. But right now, 22 out of 29 in this race with a 6-second time penalty. That's absolutely brutal, and it's also going to be brutal as Jericho Willis makes progress on Pursoon, and there's nothing Pursoon can do on this 9-lap-old hard tyre. They stayed out, they took the lead of the Grand Prix, but all of a sudden the tyre's looking pretty old as time's gone by, and there's nothing, just absolutely nothing. Frantic is surely going to be looking at making a move on their teammate in this race as well, sooner rather than later, to try and make use of this tyre and try and maybe get ahead before Sulkin gives them a go on that hard tyre as well, because that tyre's only going to get quicker. There is Jericho Willis showing some good pace in that car. They have a time penalty as well. We have to remember, looking at the time penalties once again, we will do so, as that's another one for Edvir. More time penalties here and there and everywhere. It is completely changing. We're going to see Sulkin right at the back of Frantic, but not able to make a move just yet. 6 seconds for Jericho Willis, 6 seconds for Pursoon. What can we see here from Sulkin? Would they try and go for a move? Well, they looked like they were putting the pressure on, and they're trying to. You can see them slowly getting closer and closer. That suggests that they are putting that battery on a little bit, and they're catching. They will go for the overtake attempt around the outside line. They are going to try and stick it. That's never going to work, and it's just going to slow them down a little bit, and that means Frantic is going to have a harder time to catch up to Pursoon, but a re-attempt overtake is going to be possible. Sulkin runs them all the way to the line, and Frantic is going to be furious of that one. They've got the outside line, they've got the advantage, and they're still going to stay ahead. Sulkin trying to keep their nose in, now has the inside line, and they are going to get there. They're going to have to leave the space all the way up to the yellow. It's going to be right behind Verve, finding the move as well. Absolutely perfect from Verve. Frantic is going to be frustrated with that one. 3 seconds from Pursoon as they struggle with these track limits. Not racing in the F1 game for a while. That's what happens to you. That's what we saw from Charlie. Take a break away. You can still have the pace, but you just don't have the ability to stay within the track limits. That's what you've got to do. If you want to stay away from it, you've got to be consistent. Brusco leads the way, 24 to 29, running out of time now, but Zingy is not. He's only getting stronger with this tyre. It's only going to get better, and they might already take the lead of the Grand Prix. As they do so, the outside line they pick, but they get ahead, and they take the racing line. No problem at all. The Scotsman is in P1. They had a disaster class in Singapore. They're now looking for a masterclass in Australia. And we look at the overtakes that they've had to do. 3 positions gained. The qualifying wasn't quite there, but they've had the advantage in the race, it seems. Enjoying their time at the moment. We also see Sulkin and Verth very close to one another. Sulkin 1.1 seconds away from Pursoon, not in DRS anymore. So we'll see how that one comes about. But right now, it's Verth not in a position to make an overtake just yet. What is it though? Jericho Willis putting the pressure on. Another McLaren attacks the Williams, but it's not Heisler this time. The American is right behind. They also had a pretty tough time in Singapore, but scored some good points in the end. Soon catches back up. Sulkin's got DRS. All of a sudden the pack just slowed up, and now we see the top 7 all in the train. Lap 25 to lap 26 now. And Zingy holds on comfortably, it seems, ahead of this man in P2. A whole stream of cars behind, with the team's championship leader directly. The medium tyre runners hoping that the race will end sooner rather than later. The hard tyre runners just enjoying everything as they can. That being said, I'm sure Sulkin wants a bit of time to try and make some progress in this race if they can. Verf was on the attack a few moments ago, but now it's switched up. And DRS available for the Ferrari means that any pace advantage that medium tyre has had cancels out. And now that the switch has come in, the hard tyre is much quicker. Sulkin going to be strong. Can they have a look at maybe getting a podium here? Well, look at the time penalty situation. Yes, they can. They can look at getting a podium. They can look at getting a P2 in this Grand Prix. To get ahead of Zingy, something drastic would have to happen. Currently, the only car that can really compete against Zingy is Verf, and they're in P6 on some pretty dead tyres, or dying tyres at this stage. They're not dead, it's just not as easy when you're in a train full of cars that are basically a wall ahead of you. Briscoe has done a brilliant job today, but with a bit of misfortune and time penalties, they've just not had enough to really do anything. That's Jericho Willis off the track. I do not believe it. Running outside. Pursoon will go to P3, but they go off the track for a moment. Sulkin's going to try and have a go. There's contact between the two. That could have gone much worse. They're lucky to be alive now. It's Verf on the exit, trying to capture everything they can. Lap 27 out of 29. Do you go for the overtakes now? Do you go later? What's going to be the best option? We will never know until we cross the line. It's Jericho Willis who stays ahead as they get back in front of Pursoon. DRS is not available for the Alpine, and Sulkin will spot their opportunity. They aim their sights and they shoot. Will they hit the target? They're gonna hit the target for sure. No! Oh, Pursoon gave it everything they could. They locked the rears to try and get the rotation. There's a little bit too much, and Verf didn't spot that in the end and just had to sit behind and wait. A driver that usually spots a lot of good opportunities up in front of them just missed out this time, and they can't do much about it. Frantic as a passenger in the battle of what's happening in front, and there's an overtake attempt for Verf as they try and make the move sooner rather than later with the DRS. Pursoon isn't going to be happy with that one because now they've just lost even more, but DRS still available. Hopefully they can catch back up to this battle, but Sulkin is on the attack, and now they've got Jericho Willis all on their own. That being said, they have now lost effectively the time penalty range that they had. They're half a second away from Briscoe. They've got a big problem here. They've just really compromised their P2 situation. They cannot afford to fight Jericho Willis, but will they witness it? Will they spot it? Or will they try and get ahead of Jericho Willis on track? That being said, I have heard that there's a lot of problems with track limits around this circuit, so we could be in a bit of a troublesome situation. There is Sulkin right behind. We've just seen Pursoon get ahead of Verf on DRS, and that's going to try and change it. Sulkin to the inside line, sending it on the brakes into turn 11. And they get the job done. But is it going to be the better option? Will they be able to hold on to the back of Briscoe? For now, 5/10 is enough. But will they be able to do it for one final lap as the Scotsman leads the way with the Williams in the DRS tracks? But with time penalties at the moment, it's going to be virtually impossible. And as we've had in 3 races, different winners, it looks like we might just see a repeat winner by round 4, and it could be the man, the myth, the legend, the one who you'd expect it to be out of anyone. It's Bassoon who has another time penalty, and Verf sits behind just watching, and Frantic can't do anything about it as their teammate is struggling in front of them. Jericho Willis holding on to this P4. Where will they end up with the time penalties? I don't quite know. Will we see another overtake from anyone further behind? It's going to be Verf out of anyone if they were to make an overtake. Surely it's going to be Verf into P5 ahead of Bassoon, and they will hold on to it anyway. They're just trying to lose minimal time to see where they can end up. Will they get the podium that they've been looking for in this Grand Prix? I don't know, but Zingy has been driving a phenomenal race. There's a switch up between the Alpines as I thought might happen by the very end. What a race this man has driven. The qualifying didn't look so great, but in the race they were dominant. Absolutely perfect. Some crazy moves. Zingy wins the Australian Grand Prix. It's Brusco in P2 with a valiant effort, and Solkin taking a brilliant P3 there. It's Jericho Willis with P4. It's Verf to P2 in the end. Absolutely perfect stuff for the championship leader as they will maintain their current position. Amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Zingy takes victory once again, and they are going to be happy with that one. Australia is theirs. It's Verf in P2 with another great result. It's Sulkin on the podium in LSI F1. It's Frantic in P4, and then it's Brusco, Jericho Willis, Passoon, Edvin, Nifo, Live Seat, and DNFing earlier on was actually Live Seat and Eager Pro. We go through the session results, and then we're going to get the race director just in case. And then we will go back up one more time just as well, because we might as well. And then we will go and give it a shot for the pit stops as well. And we'll be back for the post-race interviews after an incredible race. We'll see you in a bit. Hello everyone and welcome to the post-race interviews of the Australian Grand Prix. A spectacular race for entertainment, incredible stuff. We start with Rusko. Rusko, another brilliant pole position for you, absolutely incredible pace. Where did it go wrong in the race for you though? P5, still good points, but I know it's not where you want to be.
Pole again in two weekends, 2 poles. Very good lap again. Last lap I invalidated, but yeah, didn't improve anyway. First lap I got a triple warning bug. I don't know why. Second lap again. So it finished my race. This 6 seconds penalty. Me and Zingy gapped everyone on the beginning, but the safety car finished my race as the 6 penalty seconds.
Yeah.
I think I did a good strategy. I did go longer with the hearts. To didn't have to manage the mediums at the end, but yeah, that safety car just finished my race as the again the 6 seconds. But yeah, it was a good race. And next weekend, I don't know the track, but maybe it will come my way.
Do you
Don't
think
know.
if the safety car didn't come out, where would you've got a podium, where do you think you'd have been?
No. This when I have like 6 seconds penalty, the safety car is not. Even if I didn't beat the lap, that lap, I think the safety car when we have a seconds penalty is not good
Yeah.
for the strategy.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Well,
the only way was I did the good strategy. I gapped with Zingy, but then the safety car ended my race. Yeah.
Well, hopefully it goes well for you in Silverstone. It's a great circuit for racing, many chances to overtake. So,
Sorry, what circuit?
Silverstone, Great Britain.
Okay.
Yeah, with a
It's
sprint
good.
race as well, so you get 2 chances at taking victory. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. And we move on to Nifo. Nifo, that was a tricky one. Really, really tough. Track limits were brutal. And the safety car, it didn't really seem to help that many people. Can you take us through your race?
Yeah, it was definitely my best so far. It's just incredible. I invalidate my first lap, get like a decent second lap, and then I screw up my last lap, but it wouldn't have mattered because Ziggy gave me a puff of dirty air anyway, because he didn't know I was on a lap, I guess. So it would have not improved anyway. So I guess it didn't matter that much. Yeah, and then on the start I overtake someone, and then I get next to the Aston into the fast chicane. I'm not even like looking to definitely overtake, but just like trying to scare him, maybe lose him a bit of time, and I just get pushed into the wall. Like I'm not there, so that's just incredible because I guess spatial awareness is quite rough. So yeah, and then everybody behind starts battling with him, and then he goes wide, and yeah, then we lose DRS, and I have 0 pace, and I have to fight against two of the Alpines, and literally just couldn't catch up, didn't have any pace, and then yeah, Zingy was quite, I mean, in my opinion, he didn't communicate very well when he was pitting, so I thought he would pit at lap 11. Then he pitted at lap 12, which I was pitting also, so I lost even more time. I think it would have been close to DRS with the cars fighting in front if that didn't happen, so that's incredible. And then yeah, the safety car comes out, you're like, okay, this is fine, because most of the penalties I got were instant. I think I got like 4 or 3 instant 3 seconds, so I got warnings along the way, but like it's just annoying. And yeah, and then I don't know who led the safety car or whose fault it was behind, but honestly, that is the worst I've seen in a long time. We stopped, and I break my front wing. It's honestly, I've not been this far back in the safety car in quite a while, but this is unbelievable. I think we went 4 times before we actually went. So it's either I don't know if it's the fault of the guy who was restarting or someone in the middle who was just sleeping. But we go, we stop, we go, we stop. You can't do that. Like that's the only chance I have of like redeeming my race. It gets taken away because we restart and then stop, restart and then stop. Like I don't know. It was incredible. I think everything that could go wrong went wrong. Pace wasn't there, luck wasn't there. So Yeah, I want to forget, and luckily I won't miss any races, so I can definitely afford the races like this. So incredible.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, and yeah, we'll look into that. I hope it goes well for you next time around in Silverstone. I know you like that circuit, so we'll see you then. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we move on to Solkin. Solkin, congratulations. That is a podium for you. Can you take us through it? Also, brilliant qualifying as well, and a brilliant start to the race. Oh, hold on a minute.
Me too.
There you go. Carry on.
Yeah, I got P2 in the quali, very my best ever quali lap. So yeah, I got I got like in front of Sinky, so I was happy with my lap, but unhappy with not getting P1 because I knew I had the pace. I could probably do like 14.9, but just fucked up in sector 3. And the race was good from the start. Like I had the pace advantage on the like race start at Brusco, or what is it called? Yeah, the Williams. And yeah, I hold P2 for some time, but then I see Singy in my rear mirror. Yeah, he's very quick on the race, so I can't do anything about it. So yeah, he gets past me. Then the Williams gets past me too because I have a messy like turn 9 or I think turn 10 with him, and yeah, it ends me up win the pack with the other guys and just get the dirty air fucked me over because my rear tires started to overheat like everybody else. But I had a really hard time with it, at least at the last corners and last sector, because that's very hard for me at the tires and always have been for me in the sector G. But happy with the podium. Managed to get from P7 to P3, P6, P7 to P3 in after the safety car. So happy with the recovery after the penalty stop. So
Is it fair to say that now you've got a bit of a taste for some clean air and that's what you want now?
yeah, I still want to like win and try to win, but I know that's like a high achievement. So I gotta keep practicing more. I think if I get help by C-Maxon like I did today, I probably will win someday. Maybe not Silverstone because that's one of my worst tracks, but maybe in like Brazil or something where I like to enjoy the laps and have fun around the track. So maybe I can get a win time someday. So yeah, I just hope it will stay like this and not end me up in P5, P6 like it was before.
Well, keep trying, because as long as you don't give up, something can happen. It's racing. It's not predictable at all. Silverstone is a great circuit for racing. So, you know, if there's a circuit that a miracle can happen, although it's not a miracle if you win a race, I think it's legitimate, then it can happen there. Thank you very much, Solkin. Really congratulations today, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah,
We move on to Zingy. Zingy, that is the second victory of the season, the first driver to take multiple victories this season. That's a pretty nice result after a few rough races.
Yeah, I mean, I messed up qualifying already. I had like 2.8, 2.9 tenths up on my lap, and I messed up. So I could have been on pole position easily. I just made it more difficult for myself going into the race. I was honestly going into this feeling like the most useless person ever. It didn't really work. I felt as though although I was quick, I just couldn't find that edge. But going into the race, I had a good start. By the lap 2, I was on the Sulkin, which he says he's very happy about, of course. And then I know once I get in the lead 99% of the time, I'm not going to relinquish it. So I just knew if I saved my battery for a bit, wait for the pit stops, made my move, I would be fine. But I believe, I can't remember what happened. I think me and Brusco, we got away. He was very quick today. Everything by his pole position, of course. But yeah, so we kind of worked together. I let him go, and then I held his DRS. We pulled about 2 seconds on Salkin. And from there on, I thought I was going to win. I was 4 seconds ahead, and that safety car kind of made it a bit spicy, didn't it?
It did. It did. How did it change for you then? Were you a little bit more confident afterwards because of time penalties, or were you not so confident?
No, that's where Aaron. We were discussing before the race. You do not race to finish second, even if it's on time penalties. I will always race to win. That's what I believe in. And unless I know there's no way of me getting by without there being an ounce of contact and maybe some danger involved, I won't go for it. But 99% of the time, I'm gonna send my card in the inside. And I was so angry at that point where I just didn't care, and I just drove my heart out. And thankfully, I got back the win that I deserved.
Yeah, awesome. Well, it was great to see, so thank you very much. Some great racing. Silverstone, going to be a pretty good track, I'm sure. Whether it rains or not, I know you can do well there. So thank you very much, Zingy. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
And that's been it for the post-race interviews. That's been it for the Australian Grand Prix for the LSI F1 Championship. We'll see you tomorrow for the F1.5 EU Championship. We'll see you next weekend for a sprint race at Silverstone. Don't miss it. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.